asked?
Just my apologies for being late. Thank you.
Sorry, I didn't press the got it, so I don't think I heard what was happening. Is Crystal asked this question already?
It wasn't a question. She was just expressing her, just letting us know that she attended late.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for your presentation, Gabby.
Welcome.
On to you, Mr. McIntyre.
Thank you. The next presentation is coming from IUOE. So I'll turn it over to them.
Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone can hear me. The International Union of Operating Engineers wishes to acknowledge that this meeting is held on the unceded traditional Smyson territory. Good evening, trustees, parents, and members. The IUOE appreciates the opportunity to meet with the Board of Education to share and discuss budgetary issues facing School District 52. While making its decisions, the IUOE requests that the Board of Education to ensure that all decisions are made in a fair and equitable process. The International Union of Operating Engineers Local 882 represents all job classifications pertaining to support staff employed by School District 52. The Board of Education must realize the impact and outcome of all its decisions to balance the budget. As you are aware, the pandemic continues to present increased challenges throughout School District 52. The IUOE strongly believes that all employees from the custodian to the school superintendent have endured these challenges without looking back. I've attended many past budgetary meetings where the Board of Education has shared their plans not to implement budget cuts that impact students. Maybe not realizing your 2021-2022 budget decision to reduce the number of educational assistants has impacted support for many students and their learning outcomes. The educational assistants are spread too thin while expecting them to support more and more students. The Board of Education has also expressed the need to hire qualified educational assistants. It is evident that the educational level of an educational assistant before they commence an assignment does not typically reflect their effectiveness in the position. Each year, there is an increase in the number of students entering the school with higher needs. At Charles Hayes Secondary School, 21% of our student bodies are designated with special needs. The biggest learning curve would be knowing how to work with the students that are autistic, as an example, behavioral concerns, and nonverbal students. Any kind of extra training or experience in the fields of the students' needs are absolutely essential. This experience is not attained or taught by enrolling in more courses. Indigenous family resources workers are very dedicated and supportive to assist families at students at each work site. Library assistant positions take on a whole new meaning with the absence of a full-time teacher librarian. There are the resource person staff seek for assistance. They are the go-to person who organizes and manages book fairs and school theme days. They are the person that opens the library doors each morning, encouraging students of all ages to engage in learning, whether it be literacy or numeracy. Please refer to Tasha's email that was sent to the trustees on Sunday, February 13th, 2022 at 2:09 p.m. Secretaries, their duties and expectations have increased with an additional financial reporting, attendance data, attendance calls to homes, etc. Custodians have had additional cleaning protocols, maintenance of hand sanitizing stations, as well as performing their regular cleaning duties. Skilled trades seem to have a difficulty in attracting and retaining employees, as a retired carpenter remains employed performing various projects. In the informational technology department, 3 technicians work tirelessly to support staff maintaining equipment, down internet, and Wi-Fi connections. In one form or another, whether it be the pandemic or new personnel, bus drivers and their duties have been given added expectations, therefore drastically increasing their workload. During the Tuesday, February 15, 2022 meeting of the regular board school meeting, The union was in disbelief to learn that educational assistants come in under budget to the tune of $135,633, while teachers are over budget and the administration is close with an amount of $11,000. What is the board's plan to resolve undercutting approximately 4 educational assistant positions? In deliberating the 2022-2023 budget, please consider the following. 1, the 2021-2022 supply budget was decreased yet again. Did you know that many of the students do not come to school with the basic supplies such as pens, pencils, paper? Each school year, purchases of supplies and necessities are reduced because of price increases. Absenteeism also remains a concern. The employer continues to save money by being able to replace those absent employees at the work sites. On a daily basis, absent educational assistants are not replaced due to the lack of casuals on the list. Again, the union is inquiring, where is the cost savings noted in the budget for those supply staff that do not take their 8 prorated sick days for a 10-month employee or 9 prorated sick days for a 12-month employee? The IUOE hopes that the Board of Education is able to demonstrate due diligence and transparency throughout the budget process. If you are unsure about information, ask or visit a work site or in order to have a clearer understanding of the events that occur by observing those that are on the front lines. In closing, we'd like to summarize by saying there are many of TASH's various work sites that go above and beyond the call of duties. These employees do it for the students. They do not want recognition or a pat on the back. The IUOE seeks better budgetary decisions that minimize the impact for those employees that directly work with the students. Thank you.
Trustee Horn.
Thank you for that presentation. One question I have for you is, you'd said in there that you thought that what we're spending on training of EAs, because the board has had an issue in the past with EAs not having enough knowledge, so we've spent a lot of effort into training. Do you think that we should, is that what you're saying? You think we should not do that?
Well, I'm saying that, the investment is there, but it's not always going to be a sure investment because we don't know when the EAs come out, what their interactions are going to be like in terms of the knowledge and the experience that they have. It doesn't necessarily mean that they'll be the right fit. So the selection process probably needs to be a little bit more stringent.
Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation, Mr. Saw. Mr. McIntyre.
All right, thank you. I believe it's the Indigenous Education Council, which I believe is Roberta Itzerza, Cam Hill, and Denise Esham, all in attendance.
I'm a hopeful, everybody. Thank you, Cam. Ours will be a bit of a short sharing. We did quite a few sharing within the last few meetings with the board, to the board also in regards to how Indigenous education is doing within the district and how our Indigenous students are doing within the district and some priorities that we need to focus on. Cam and Denise, I'd just like to hand it over to you.
Thanks, Roberta, and thanks everybody for giving us some time this evening. Good, meaningful dialogue and good conversations, I hope, will arise from all of the discussions and all the ideas that we have here this evening. And first off, I'd just like to acknowledge that I'm coming to you from one of the 7 Tsimshian communities in Hartley Bay, and to acknowledge our brothers and sisters in the Rupert area, in particular Kikatla, Metlakatla, and Port Simpson. As you all know, as a learner and spending my entire student student years within School District 52, I've always thought of and known as District 52 as being a very innovative and forward-thinking district. And I think that those are some of the things that we'd just like to hone in on this evening, and to make sure that we're focusing on the areas that we as a ABED Council really feel that if we are going to enhance the First Nations learners within our territory and within our school district, and to make them successful, I'll just hone in on a few areas. Obviously, number one, being a Tsimshian territory, making sure that the language programs that you all know of, Somalia, are going to continue and to be put forward on the same level that they are right now, if not higher, to all of our learners within the district, not only Indigenous learners. We'd also like to make sure that the whole idea of truth and reconciliation is forward on everybody's minds. I don't really even need to delve into that. I know that we're all passionate about that, but it's something that still needs to be brought to the forefront and to be talked about and addressed on a day-to-day basis. Some other things and some other areas that we don't want to see falter are the coach mentoring program within the district, as well as the cross-curricular activities that are ongoing. As well as that, the district equity program, we'd like that work to be done by all the people that are involved, teachers, principals, trustees, whoever it may be, and that more focused interventions happen to increase the success rate of all of Indigenous students and learners within our district. Just on a little bit of a side note, I had dinner with my mom this evening. She says, you're going to another Zoom meeting tonight. And I said, yeah, I have to. I said, but it's an important one. And she said, what's it about? And I said, well, we're presenting to the board as part of Indigenous education within the school district. Now, you all know my mom, and she's been an educator in the district forever. And she's still always educating me. And without missing a beat, she looked at me and she said, we never want to move backwards. Don't forget that the majority of our students within School District 52 are of First Nations ancestry, and we always need to remember that. And she says, we've done a lot of good things, but we've still got a long way to go. And I say that to you right from the heart, that I know deep down that everybody that I see on this board tonight, and all of my colleagues, that I do know that we have a really good core group of people working for First Nations learners and all learners within the school district. And through, as I said in the beginning, good, meaningful dialogue and conversations will get those ideas going. And we as a team, no matter how you approach it, that's how we have to look at ourselves, are going to move all of our learners forward. So with that, I'll entertain any questions. Again, I want to thank you for the opportunity to be able to bring our concerns forward tonight. Thank you.
Denise, did you have anything to add or comment on?
I don't think so. I think Cam kind of summed it up, but just that to know and keep on the forefront that Indigenous education, teaching to all learners is beneficial to everyone, right? Like to make sure that that's in either the forefront or the background when we're doing teaching, that it benefits everyone. Like we're not just targeting the Indigenous students. And I think that we're making great progress in doing that, but we've got work to go as well. So just to keep that in mind with all the stuff that we do. Thank you.
Trustee Horn?
Thank you, Chair. Thanks, Cam, for your presentation. Truth and reconciliation is always something I believe we should move forward with and keep it in mind as we process through our budget as we do that. And thank you very much for your words and for the words from your mum. Say thank you for me. And to make sure, like you say, that we don't go backwards. That's big thing to keep in mind. Keep in the back of our minds while we're doing this. So thank you for that.
Trustee Beal?
Excuse me, Cam, you bring tears to my eyes sometimes. You're so passionate the way you speak, and I'm just so proud to be on this territory and sharing with everyone what we shared last night with the Indigenous report. I took the time out today. I took my lunch break and came home and picked it up and went through it and seen so much amazing stuff in it. And to hear, like, you know, we're not hearing that we're doing bad. We're hearing we're doing really good on so many things. And these presentations, I think these presentations are good for us all as a school district to hear. We normally hear them individually, but we're not getting anything from Indigenous people that want something from the board financially, just our support. And that means everything, because I think as a school district, we've struggled for the last 3 years bringing in a budget that supports our community, supports our children. But I just want to thank you guys for all your hard work.
Thank you, Janet.
Thank you, Roberta. Thank you, Cam. Thank you, Denise. Thank you for your words, your time, and I think, and especially what sits with me is your mom's words, Cam, and also I would just add to that, and also that we need to move forward.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Back to you, Mr. McIntyre.
All right, well, there's one more group to present, which is the Principals Association. I'm not actually sure who's speaking on your behalf today, so I'll let you come on.
That would be James and I, but I just realized I hadn't given my Zoom authorization to share my screen. So if you'd bear with me, I'm just going to quickly reboot Zoom. So I hope that's okay. I'll be right back. I'm sure you guys will find something to do.
Are you sure? I set it up. Sharing is permitted. Yeah. No. Is he gone? Oh.
Did he say have a dance break? No, that was just me. Yeah, okay.
But you could, Roberta. Go ahead.
I can add something that's a first for Hartley Bay that I'm sure will make all of you pretty happy. And with what we're talking about this evening, and as soon as Jeremy gets back on here, I'll jump right off. But really taking a look at the edge of things is the way that I can approach this, and taking risks. Hartley Bay School, through our connected classrooms, which I would love to talk about sometime with any of the trustees, albeit we're such a small school and you're never going to get a teacher into your community that's going to be able to deliver all of the core subject areas. Hartley Bay, in our new term, which started on January 31st, I have 3 Physics 12 students that are going to be taking their first exam in Physics 12 tomorrow morning. It's just a huge, overwhelming experience to be able to deliver a course like that. And it's really gratifying for Hartley Bay School, because we were kind of asked, the same teacher that taught my students Science 10 asked if I'd have interest from the parents and the students to do Physics 11. And those same core group of kids made it through Physics 11. And right away she said, well, you know what? I've got the okay from FNESC and FNSA to push forward for a Physics 12 course. Would you guys be willing to take it? They asked a bunch of different schools, and only 2 of us stepped up to do it. So fingers crossed. I know that you guys will send all your positive vibes and everything our way tomorrow. And yeah, we're doing it. So that's maybe that's going to be our slogan and moving forward. Let's just do it.
Awesome, awesome, awesome news.
Thanks, Cam, for telling us that.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I think that slogan might be taken. Just to do it.
We'll just do it. So we're doing it. I don't know, maybe. Yeah. Okay, I guess we can start. So we do have a PowerPoint presentation.
Good evening, everyone.
Can everyone see that?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. First of all, we'd just like to acknowledge that we are on the unceded territory of the Tsimshian people, where I live, work, and play. And I realized just sitting here that I believe I went to Hartley Bay in 2012. So I've pretty much been on Tsimshian territory now for a decade, which is pretty neat. And it's been a really, really great experience. So really, we want to start this presentation, and I think there's kind of been a theme going on here that people are really key to student success. And more than anything, what the PRPA really wants to communicate is that we need people, right? This is a social enterprise, and we need people. 1 second here. I'm just gonna. This is in my way. Okay, good. So if we kind of zoom out and we look at the 2 main, I think, asks that we're really asking for, I guess, or maybe it's not so much an ask, but let's just not reduce, would be educators, that's teachers and administrators and EAs in our classrooms and in our schools, right? We feel that that's really what we need to maintain. And then really a functional human resources department is the 2 kind of big picture items that we're wanting to look at here. Okay. So breaking it down kind of to the numbers, right? Over the last 3 years, between school year 1920 up to the current school year, we've had about a 7% reduction in enrollment. The bulk of that was really in that sort of COVID year, 2020, 2021. Most likely that was probably due to around, COVID concerns, things like that. And as we all know, we just have some students that we know haven't probably left the community, or some youth, but they just haven't connected, and we're trying hard to do that. But, but average, we're about 1%. Despite this, we see it as we've reduced 22% reduction in teaching and administration capacity, right? We had a 10% reduction in teachers, and we had a 12% reduction in administration. Now you could tile those numbers up and say, well, really, you just lost, 10% of your staffing. But we really want to delineate between that, and because we suggest that, looking at capacity, right, administrators through, legislative capacity, have a lot to give an offer, right, in a range of things, right? This doesn't suggest that we're somehow better or whatever than teachers, right? We have more capacity given to us through sort of the legislative structures that are around, right? And so to equate, everything is equal, we don't really see that. So we really want to stick that number, in the trustees' heads, that we feel that the capacity has been reduced by 22% of that. And that's really a 15% differential between the 7% enrollment reduction and the 22% in teaching and administration capacity, right? So the 22% effect, right? we're all working hard in this district, and teachers, EAs, administrators. But it goes without saying, any levels of significant reduction like this was has an effect, right? So you have a skewed 15% differential in proportion of reduction in educational efficacy, right? That lessens our educational capacity, right? We have less person power for unique programming, right? And differentiated educational opportunities, right? You know, and also we have less capacity to engage in that preemptive social emotional learning. You know, I think a lot of us feel that we've moved a bit more to that red line rather than kind of staying in that yellow line and moving them back to the green. You know, it's becoming a bit more reactionary than sort of responsive or preemptive, I guess, if you will. Also, SD 52, as we know, is a high needs district in proportion to provincial averages, and what that requires, particularly for high intensity behaviors and stuff, is people, right? It desires connection, and without that level of connection, it's hard to do that. So people are key to that. We do want to just really reiterate though that everybody's working hard, right? It's not that, but 22%, it's an effect, right? We also want to highlight talent retention. There's mental stress of job insecurity, right? Always thinking, hey, you know what? Is my job on the line? Isn't it on the line? I don't know what's next, right? And this goes for teachers or administrators, right? We could lose some good teachers, right? And that might seek more stable job environments and other things. And that actually creates, we feel like, even a larger drain on the community, right? Because we know that educators and teachers and administrators and EAs, they're the ones in our communities that also do a lot of volunteer work, right? They're out volunteering for, the fire department, or out there playing soccer with the kids and other stuff like that. So, we want to keep our good people in our community and keep them also in the school district. We definitely want to highlight the importance of administration. Administrations are leaders and we are teachers, right? Most of the VPs, particularly the elementary level, have a 0.8, teaching, and about 0.2 administration. So a lot of their stuff is teaching. Secondary VPs, bit more variable ratio there, but similar. They have a teaching a component and an admin, and even principals. I'm actually 0.5 teaching, 0.5 administration. So mine is a bit them, and it can range all the way obviously up to 1.0 administration, right? So we do want to highlight that we are leaders and we are administrators, but we're also, teachers, right? And administrators' roles, we feel, and scope enhances the educational outcomes of everybody in the district, right? Again, there's a structural difference between teachers and administrators defined by the School Act, right? And this structure just allows us to leverage resources, whether it's in community, in the district-wide, school-wide, coordinating with businesses. And this doesn't mean that teachers don't also can advocate for these things and stuff like that, but it still really has to go through administration. And we're kind of the ones that manage that, right? And so any reduction in that is going to really inhibit further things that way. So I'm going to throw it over to James here for this next section, and I'm going to do my stuff.
Thanks, Jeremy, and thank you everyone for listening to us, and thanks for having us. We really appreciate it. We appreciate your time. Yeah, I just wanted to sort of go to pick up where Jeremy was kind of saying, and just kind of show a little snapshot of where all these stressors and sort of what it looks like to educators basically. And this is from a survey that the BC PVPA did from all principals and vice principals in the province, and some of the results that kind of came out. Now this is of course a provincial survey, but we feel that the PRPA's membership is represented well here. And to be honest, this isn't really necessarily just relevant to our membership, but to all educators in the system. They're all really feeling this sort of burnout and mental mental and physical exhaustion at the end of the day. And but the one thing that we wanted to mention is the stressors that Jeremy was kind of talking about just before that are not positively contributing to these factors. In fact, they're negatively impacting. Next one, Jeremy. And also, I mean, something that will be covered a little bit later on when we talk about sort of the new stressors that have come, with living in a pandemic world and having to navigate around regulations and mandates from coming from a central source. There's been with administrators, we're kind of the frontline workers that have to that are sort of taking those concerns from either internal pressures or external pressures to do with our sort of school systems. Next. However, and we completely agree that this is reflective of our membership, is that regardless of all of this, we are 100% excited to come to work every day. We have a smile on our face and we try to the best of our ability to perform our jobs 100%. And in this, because we know that a lot of this stuff comes with the job, but we definitely have that commitment. And I think I speak on behalf of all our members that this is true. And so just to kind of show you a snapshot of what this all sort of means is that there's, we look at this sort of the nature of administration, and it's kind of this high effort sort of position where we have constant time pressures, lots of responsibilities, pressures to work overtime, many interruptions and disturbances. But then, you have, uncertain job security, low promotional. And when I talk about the uncertain job security, I mean, we lost, some members were let go last year, and then this year there's uncertainty yet again, and that just only adds to the stress. Low promotional prospects. There are some amazing teacher leaders in our school district that are ready to take that next step and want to take that next step, and there just doesn't seem to be any opportunities. And then, well, the last two here, recognition, appreciation, support, and respect. I would say that this is, now again, this is something from the from the BC PVPA. I would say in our district that we do receive appreciation, and of course, I definitely would like to acknowledge the fact that from the board office, we certainly receive a lot of support. They're always there, sort of at our, basically at our beckoning call to help us out and to help us problem solve. Next one, Jeremy. And so to talk about the administrations and COVID, the importance of VPs sort of in this whole process, not just with COVID, but also in the whole grand scheme of things. But with the COVID protocol implementation, we've had to sort of take extra time during summer holidays or whatever it may be, just waiting for the next announcement. Understanding stakeholders and teachers' concerns while communicating ministry-directed COVID protocols and having to implement them. In the front line of education COVID response, we are the ones that kind of go into all the classes that help direct ourselves and everybody to try and follow the protocols as best as we can. As well, our students are, visitors and even the staff that's in the school. Mostly, however, we have noticed that the efforts that we're making are quite positive because most of our students are abiding by COVID rules and COVID regulations, and it seems like it's sort of a collective effort that they're feeling responsible for. The importance of VPs, VPs are educational leaders. Again, Jeremy talked about capacity. This doesn't, this basically just means that, this is something that we've sort of specialized in and are going forward with, like school initiatives and like basically this is what makes it fun for VPs is to try and be leaders in the school. Creates more leadership in district and broader community, gives space for school-wide initiatives, I kind of covered that already, and allows for inevitable succession plans. So the principals that are in the school now are probably not going to be working forever. So at some point, we need to have strong, experienced leaders sort of take over those roles. And yeah, next, please. Oh, this is Jeremy.
Okay, so just a quick thing on the whole functional human resources department. We actually really feel that human resources actually worked well this year. We do feel that relationship is strengthened the PRDTU, which is key. It's no secret we might disagree on some things, but we're all in this together, and we need to be have a good working and healthy relationship within that, and we think that's gotten better. Also having somebody that understands experience in teaching and administration, the education side, like what is it like to be a teacher and be hiring and be in a new position? What's it like to be an administrator and try to fill FTE and things like that, right? And just sort of understanding that really can help. And then consistency in department, I've been an administrator here 5-6 years, and I don't think I've had any consistency in that department. And it would be nice to have a level of consistency in that department so that we can kind of just know where we're going and where we're heading. And we just have to say that, like, from our perspective, at least the last couple times, external hires haven't worked out. It's not to say just that it totally couldn't, but experience is showing that maybe that's not totally the way to go. So that's just kind of that. And just final thoughts here, just to kind of crystallize everything that we've talked about, because it's kind of a lot, we've thrown a lot at you. 3 kind of points here. Person power is key to increasing outcomes, right? And so back to that thing of we don't want to reduce any more capacity. We feel there's already been a 22% decrease in person power and capacity. And that's outpaced the drop in enrollment in our minds fairly significantly. Also, we believe administrators, we've really been, cut by 12% over the last couple of years, and we feel that we're at kind of a minimum capacity for us. We have a lot of pressures, particularly with COVID and stuff like that. The compensation relative to a top scale category 6 teacher is in our opinion marginal due to the comparative to what you'll get for capacity out of that position, right? And finally, human resources department stability, consistency, and just a deep understanding of staff and administration and teaching is key for us. So that is our presentation, and James and I are open to questions. Let me see if I can stop sharing. Here we go. All right. Well, thank you all for listening to us.
Thank you so much, Jeremy, and thank you so much, James.
Thank you.
Mr. McIntyre?
We don't have any other presentations. That concludes the evening. Thank you everyone for coming out. And okay, do you want to add anything to the end?
I would love to thank everybody for coming out and your presentation and the time and the effort that you put into this evening. And also, of course, all of the love, the time, the energy, and the commitment that you give every single day to all of our kids. Thank you so much, everybody.
Well said, Kate. Thank you for speaking on behalf of the board. That's awesome. I appreciate it, everyone, all the groups.
Yeah,
Thank you,
thank you,
everybody.
everyone.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.